Hey, y'all, listen. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. This is late for me, but you know what? I saw the news that Diddy's lawyers filed for a mistrial again because they filed for one before, but they filed for it again. So I said, you know what? Maybe some people will be up with the diva tonight and we're going to come through really quick and talk about it. I said to myself, I told y'all though, this has been a circus. It's been a complete and utter circus. And I know some people, they was getting upset with me. They're like, no, the case is going well. No, the prosecution, they get an F. And if you care to listen to some of the experts out there, other lawyers, they are also saying, other lawyers who studied and practiced and passed the bar are straight up saying that the prosecution, and these are diva words, I'm rephrasing, is doing a piss poor job. Their witnesses are going rogue. Some of their witnesses don't know what they said in the courtroom 2 minutes ago. And so now they're asking for a mistrial because they said that Bonner is a liar. I'll just put it to you like that. Well, let me tell you something. Here's the thing. If a mistrial is granted and they have to do another trial, Cassie in trouble. Yes, she is. Because, listen, the defense is not stupid. They was going to do but so much. Katrina, much love. You ain't have to do that, girlfriend. You be working for me overtime. I love you, though. Thank you so much for the super chat. Much appreciated. So, if there is a mistrial and they have to retry this case, that means Cassie will have to come on the stand yet again. And let me tell you something. This time she won't be pregnant, and the defense will be able to dig all up in her. This thing, ooh. But the prosecution, they get an F. Because so far to me, not a witness on this stand has really been a slam dunk for them. You got one of the S workers interviewing whoever calls him, and they put a mic in front of his face. He's doing an interview. The Punisher. He got several interviews out in these streets. And I think it was, who is it? Oh, God. The one that always interviews Gene Deal. He done got a part 1, 2, and probably 3 on The Punisher for an interview. And I told y'all, the prosecution is not the only one that's running a circus here. I like this judge. But just because I like him, I still got to call out wrong when it's wrong. The judge messed up too. The judge won. I said it 1,000 times. This jury should have been sequestered. 2, the judge should have helped protect the witnesses way better than they're protecting them. Now, I ain't going to say nothing about the Jane Doe that's on the stand right now, but listen, they themselves done told who she was, and they weren't about a blogger. You got publications out here like People Magazine and everybody else pretty much saying who Jane is. But by their own account, a question that they asked her, she said out of her own mouth that my baby daddy and Diddy don't get along. Well, we know who Diddy's arch enemy is. We're not stupid. So to me, they should have did a better job protecting these witnesses, especially if you're going to let her go up there as a Jane Doe. Come on, T. The trial is a whole circus. I've been saying it for a minute now. Get your popcorn, your cotton candy, and the lights. You know, I'm 55. I used to go to circus every year, either with my public school when I was in the Bronx or with my own family. It's a circus. And it's not just the prosecution, it is also the judge. I said it the other day, the witnesses should not be going in and out a door where when they walk out after they've been on the stand, they walking into the fire of the public. I don't know if y'all saw it the other day. When King Combs was leaving the courtroom, honey, the young girls was cheering him on like he just left the stage for a concert. They was showing him mad love. Clear, but you know what though? Here's the thing. We don't know if that's fact or not. We don't. We have no clue. And the reason why I'm telling you that is because here's the thing. One of those lawsuits, the people in the streets was 10 toes down that it was Tierra Marie. And when Jane Doe that person filed as a Jane Doe. When the courts forced her to say her name, she said her name, and it was not Tierra Marie. So I bring that up to say what? Sometimes the streets get it wrong. They have been putting so many urban legends on his back. I don't know what's true from what's false. But I do know it's a mess. And I do know when you bringing somebody to court and you got charges on them, you better have your ducks in a row. Now, this is not all on the 5 ladies here. I think it's 5 of them, right, on the prosecution side. I blame that Damien. Who first brought this case on. And then he bailed out and left. And these ladies had no choice but to try to pick this thing up and figure it out. He bailed on them. But I'm going to stand, and you know what, before I go, let me say this. Everybody, like, you know, I've been getting emails, well, Diva, the state is a Southern District of New York. They got a 99 or 98 or whatever percentage of winning rate. You know what they call a win too? They call a win if at any point somebody takes a plea deal. They call that a win, and that goes with their percentage. Did you ever, like I told you, like there's not too many commercials now because everything is so much streaming and the commercials are not the same. But when I was growing up, there was this commercial called did I post the link for y'all? Hold on one second. Let me post the link. I don't think I posted the link. Hold on. I think give me a minute, y'all. Let me post this link. Okay, Okay, the link is there, y'all. The link is there. I posted a link in case you want to join the train ride tonight. So there was commercials, and the commercials would say 9 out of 10 dentists recommend Colgate. Well, who are these 9 dentists? Who's the 10? And are they being paid by Colgate? So I bring that up to say this. Their percentage of plea deals are part of the percentage. Okay, plea deals are part of the percentage. So have you ever got a ticket, like whether you was driving, speeding, whatever, and you had to go appear in court? And you go appear in court, you can have a lawyer, and then your lawyer will talk to the prosecutor that's there in the courtroom. And instead of you now getting a moving violation, they say, well, you'll plead guilty to something else. It's a lesser charge. It's not going to put points on your license. You're going to pay me $350 and you're going to go about your business. Have anybody ever done that? So when that happens, it's a win-win for both sides. It's a win for you. It's a win for the court. So all I'm saying is this 99 whatever percentage everybody keep emailing me about in the prosecution, they wouldn't have brought a case if they didn't have a case. Like, stop. They don't have a case. We are on witness number 1, and we're still hearing about what is going on in his bedroom. What witness are we on? And respectfully, they could have left Jane off the stand. I'm feeling for Jane when it comes time for the defense to cross-examine her. I feel for her. Because you got to explain to me how a victim stays with the person, comes with them, they getting arrested. You flew with this man in New York and he's getting arrested and you a victim? You could have went downstairs after they picked him up and say, listen, this whole time I was being forced. It's a mess. It's a circus. But let's be clear. Diddy, 10 lawyers, they putting in the work, honey. This is the second time they're asking for a mistrial. And y'all got to let me know in the chat. Do y'all think it should be granted? I'm going to tell you up front as we get ready to get into this story. I'm going to say, yes, it should be granted. And I'm going to tell you, I told you pretty much why. Why? Number 1, the jury should have been sequestered. You cannot tell me 10 toes down they denied the first mistrial. They didn't deny the second one yet. The judge hasn't. This is the second one they're asking for. The judge has not ruled on this one yet. Okay. So, this jury should have been sequestered. Of course, they're hearing all this smut in the streets. How can they not avoid it? And you think that's not going to play in their head when it comes time for them to deliberate on the verdict? Should they have a mistrial? Of course they should have, because these witnesses are all over the place. They telling half-truths. They're lying. And when you get up there and you swear that you're going to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, we're going to need you to tell the whole truth. In my opinion, the ex-security guard from the Intercontinental Hotel who came up there and said he didn't take no bribe because now he's a cop. Respectfully, the lies he tells. You didn't take no bribe, but your report doesn't say none of the stuff it should say in it. You conveniently left out black eyes, somebody else being in the room, and all kinds of other stuff out of your report. But you want us to believe you didn't take a bribe. The lies. Come on, Diddy, mistrial, because I feel the jury sees everything on social media. Of course they do. Of course they do. The sex lives of the rich and famous. I live in Los Angeles, so there's nothing new to me. Charlie Sheen, sex, drugs. Hugh Hefner on reality show, he slept with 3 women and freaked off with drugs. Come on, Sheila. Let's talk about it. And Diddy isn't a crime boss. He's a creep that's act out his sexual fantasy with desperate woman. Peppy Love, talk about it. So let me go ahead and share screen so we can get into this story. Let me see. Hold on one second. Make sure. All right. So Diddy files for mistrial again, claims prosecutors presented false testimony. So Diddy's asking the judge in the case for mistrial again, accusing prosecutors of presenting testimony they knew or should have known was false. The rapper and Mobile's legal team filed the letter Saturday morning, and the reasons for their request are related to testimony about the alleged incident where Brianna, a friend of Cassie in fashion design, says Diddy held her over the edge of a balcony 17 stories in the air. Diddy's lawyer said prosecutors presented untrue testimony when Cassie testified about the incident because she said she actually saw Diddy holding Brianna over the balcony's edge. However, text from Cassie to Christina Courtroom, one of Diddy's employees, often called his chief of staff, indicated she didn't actually see the incident because she texted, "I just found out some crazy S." Diddy's attorneys also point to photos prosecutors shows of Brianna's alleged injuries. Remember, Brianna testified that Diddy dangled her over the edge of a balcony, then pulled her back onto the balcony and flung her into some furniture. She said she sustained bruises on her leg and neck injuries. With prosecutors showing photos they said were taken of the alleged injuries, the photo metadata proved they were taken on September 26, 2016. Now, this is why I said they needed to protect the victims, right? Because as she was walking out the room, she was heckled. She seemed to me, even though she had the sunglasses on, Brianna seemed to me as if she wasn't as sober as she could be. But, that's just the diva talking. I just felt like, and I also felt like she shouldn't have had to have walked through, that way. That's why I said this judge should have protected the witnesses. Okay, so let's take a look. Hold on.
Yo, like it's a plant. You are a plant. You are a plant. That's why you did good in your testimony. I don't remember.
How was your hotel?
I don't know if the balcony thing was true. I don't know. But do you? I ain't mad at you, I'm just saying hello. You are. Right. Yo. Back up. What? Yo, like it's a plant. You're a plant. You are a plant. You are a plant. That's why you did good in your testimony. I don't remember.
How was your hotel?
I don't know if the balcony thing was true.
Well, I mean, I personally don't. I think it's sad. I don't think she should have been subjected to all of that. But either way, she was all over the place for her testimony. I honestly think Diddy hung her over the balcony. Mary said he seems crazy enough and probably was drugged up as well. Stoic walk. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this balcony situation. But I don't know what to say about it. I mean, to be, it's like we're mixing so many things together, right? He was so high. I guess he was superhuman and he was high and sober enough that he didn't drop this girl. Was she not screaming and moving, but he was able to hold her and not drop her 17 stories high? I don't know. And listen, he has done a lot of things. Cassandra, Southern District of New York conviction rate is high till they run into a billionaire with a certified dream team and unlimited resources. Listen. I think, you know what? I really think the real problem here is it was a reach on the charges of what they charged him with. So, however, Diddy's teams presented evidence that the mogul was on the East Coast and couldn't have done anything he was accused of on September 26. Prosecutors later clarified that Cassie's text, the one mentioned above, seems to indicate it occurred later in the week, around September 29th or the 30th. This is the second time Diddy has filed for a mistrial. Just last month, his lawyers asked for a mistrial when it came to the destruction of fingerprints on the cocktail bottle allegedly used to destroy Kid Cudi's car. Diddy argued the knowledge that the fingerprints, Diddy's team argued the knowledge that the fingerprints were destroyed was meant to prejudice the jury. The judge denied their mistrial request. The judge has yet to rule on the new request for a mistrial, but he could decide at any time, so stay tuned. So they got the judge working OT. So how the photos were taken before the incident of her injuries? I don't know. Diddy heard should come Vanilla Ice over balcony and wanted to do the same. Listen, you know, I'm gonna tell you what the other problem here is. I don't think that there's just all innocence here, right? I think the other problem is that, and I said it before, people are telling half truths, right? And this what happens when you want to tell half truths. When you want to tell half truths, they're going to be able to pluck holes in the story. And that's why they're plucking holes in the story. And now they're saying they want a mistrial. I thought it would have to be something a little more intense for you to ask for a mistrial. But I guess it's as simple as this, right? That you can ask for a mistrial. Listen, I think that the prosecution, what they should have done is they should have maybe charged Diddy with some stuff where they knew it was a slam dunk. Because I want to say that hiring prostitutes, it is a hefty sentence, right? But this RICO, when you have audio of him saying to Jane that you can go, this is up to you. I mean, what are we doing here? How is she being forced? Now, even if, because I heard that Jane, look, y'all see my sweater I love is falling apart, but anyway, that's a side note. You see that they're saying that Jane is going to come in later and maybe talk about some horrific abuse. I don't know, but I think we're also clear on the fact that he's abusive. 110 pounds of dead weight, urban hearsay story. Mo, that's what I'm thinking. Now, people got mad. Let me just share screen again. Let's talk about this story. People got mad at Bill Maher, right? Where he pretty much said that he doubled down on the fact that that victims need to speak up sooner. That's a whole nother story, but let me just share. Yes, they overcharged them all. That's what I feel. They did. They overcharged them. So Bill Maher doubles down on Cassie. Hashtag Me Too has changed things, right? So I can't play it because they're gonna deem me for playing his video, his work there. But Bill Maher is not apologizing to people who hated his recent comments about Cassie. Standing by his argument, she's essentially made a deal with the devil for fame. The comedian and talk show host joined us on TMZ Presents United States versus Sean Combs inside the Diddy trial. And he says he wasn't trying to say Cassie was 100% consenting to freak offs with her text. And he can see why an abuse victim might send a follow-up message about the enjoyment of the experience to the abuser. Bill says a lot has changed since the Me Too movement, but he knows people who are in an abusive relationship with powerful men may still try to at least get ahead professionally if they were being put through such abuse. Mayor's argument is that those guys like Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, and others convicted of SA are in jail now. Well, Bill Cosby is not in jail. So in the future, he feels it's important that anyone subjected to such abuse go to the police right away and not call friends and opt to sit on allegations for years. Bill recognizes the difference between a man physically barring the door to trap a woman and a woman staying with a man to maintain a certain lifestyle. And he's encouraging women to embrace their agency, leave abusers, and report them. Of course, we recently had on a prominent psychologist who ripped apart Mayor's take on TMZ Live, telling him his comments made him sound like an a-hole. Each week, TMZ breaks down, the Sean Diddy Combs trial, but that is another perspective and thought process. Let me stop sharing that screen. Mo said Cassie was scared for life, but wasn't afraid to cheat. Well, that's another story too, right? She was able to have other relationships. So it's like, which one do y'all want us to hold on to? Which one do y'all want us to believe? How do y'all want us to process this? She was able to date Kid Cudi. She was able to date other people. The other problem I have is God bless all of these people because I'm sure they all have a whole lot of allegedly STDs. Why are they focusing on Diddy? They need to be looking into his student. Let me look, his student. I'm just saying. I don't know what you mean, Katrina. Like his student. What do you mean by that? Looking into his student. It's a lot. They gave us a lot of salacious stuff already. And like I said, they got the judge working overtime. They got him doing weekends and whatnot because they filed that letter Saturday morning. I think, to me personally, they could have added more to the letter for asking for this mistrial, because I think it was a whole lot more egregious stuff that went on that they could, pretty much be, say to the judge, this is the reason why I think you should give this thing a mistrial. But if they do, this is what I wanted to add it. So I feel that if the judge grants this mistrial, like I said, it's going to be problematic for Cassie because she will have to come back and testify again. But I think he will also ask for a bail again this time. Like, he's not going to want to sit in jail up until when they do the trial again. I think he would ask for a bail, and I think the bail might be considered. Let me see. Cassandra said the judge questioned whether or not Breonna's testimony was needed for RICO, but the prosecution said it was needed to show Diddy is violent. But you know what, Cassandra, they so stupid. They already showed Diddy was violent like 1,000 times over with Cassie. How many more people do you need to come through to say that this man is violent? Thank you for that information. His buddy that's doing some of the same stuff. Well, we'll discuss this later. Okay. Where's the financial gain of his enterprise? There's none. His enterprise was being depleted by all the money that he was paying, the workers, including, the girlfriends. I'll say the girlfriends to participate in like these sessions. So there was no financial gain. Now I think they're thinking with Jane. They're feeling like with Jane, she's like the smoking gun, so to speak, because Jane is talking about how she transported substances from one state to another. And Jane, is still going to be on the stand on Monday. So the thing is, the thing that we're going to have to see is like, what other testimony is Jane going to give us that may sink his ship, so to speak? And that is if we get to hear more from Jane, because we're going to have to wait for the judge to rule on this, mistrial situation again. So we're going to see. It's a lot going on. It's really interesting. I'm here for it, though. I'm absolutely here for it. But like I said, I'm just thinking to myself, like, will they grant this? So let me get back to it. If they grant it, like I said, I do think that one, Cassie's going to be in trouble because she would have to come on that stand again, and she would not be pregnant, so they will be a little harder on her. 2, he's going to ask for bail. 3, I think if he gets bail and gets out, he's definitely going to ask Trump to pardon him, and then that would be that. It would be what it is, and again, a total and complete waste of our taxpayers' money. So let me share screen again. We're going to go into something a little bit more. Definitely, this article said bad boy for life, and I agree. So wait, what does Ray J say? Apparently, Jane and him got into a fight over him being with another girl. She was hitting him, and he whooped on her back. Well, thank you, Ray J. Am I shocked to hear that? I'm not. Because we already saw what he did to Cassie in that Intercontinental Hotel video. And Jane was pushing a button. Jane really felt like but many of the people in his orbit did, right? Jane really felt like she was, what I want to say, like she was a girlfriend. Whatever it was, I will tell you this: these people was in love with some Diddy. He had some type of charm because they loved him. So let me go ahead. Where does Young Miami fit in? Well, if you heard the leaked audio, Young Miami, they all overlapped each other. So that's one thing, right? They all overlapped each other. But Young Miami fits in because with that leaked phone call, he claims that she was pissed about Young Miami, him spending time with Young Miami. He said, I'm a single man. And then he also says in that phone call, he mentioned Young Miami's name. And he said she just came over to work out. Yeah. Young Miami, I saw her do an interview saying she don't mind getting pissed on and she actually likes it. She did, Sheila. She did. Mm-hmm. And actually, when they said one of the ex-girlfriends was coming, I was thinking it was Young Miami. I forgot about this chick right here. That's saying she's Jane. So Bad Boy for Life. Diddy would be released in days after Trump pardon. Oh, wait, let me just freeze this for a minute because I want to play this for us. Hold on one second. Pause. Okay. So Bad Boy for Life. Diddy will be released in days after Trump pardon, but a free ride out of jail would not help his future, lawyer warns. Why the disgraced music mogul might be better off not accepting the pardon. Let me tell you this. No matter which way this thing goes, I don't think his reputation will never be the same. I'll put it like that. So let's take a look.
Power is one of the ultimate powers of the president. It's virtually unchecked, and he can do it. He doesn't even have to wait for the conviction. He can do it at any time after somebody's charged, even after the crime occurs. So the second that President Trump, determines that he's going to pardon him, it happens immediately. Basically, he issues a pardon. Technically, Diddy's got to accept, and it goes through a small administrative function, and then he's free. Yeah, they basically would sign the pardon. It would be sent to Diddy, and assuming he accepted, which obviously he would. Then and since he's not in prison right now, because a lot of times pardons happen when you're in prison and you're incarcerated, and you have to go through an administrative process through the Bureau of Prisons, to have a release, get your things together, make sure have transportation, things like that. So there may be a few hours, maybe 1 or 2 days. Sometimes that can take time just because of the bureaucracy. I was very surprised that Trump is considering pardoning Diddy, especially in light of the fact the trial is ongoing now. We are hearing witness after witness after witness testify to some horrible things, and that it would be a slap in the face to the witnesses, to the victims, to a lot of people to just pardon him. It would seem that he would want to wait until the trial's over, and if there's not a conviction, then there's no need for him to get involved. If there is a conviction, then for him to evaluate, what he was convicted of, the evidence at the end of the trial, not 3 weeks into it, and to make a more reasoned, complete, transparent decision. There's one thing that Americans, stand for, it's accountability. And if he were pardoned in light of what's been happening, these allegations and this testimony, there would be a sense of loss and lack of accountability. And so I don't know how that would sit with most Americans. With respect to President Trump, I don't think anybody would be surprised. He's pardoned a lot of people that people take umbrage to, and he's not worried about a re-election. So I don't really think it would affect him. He may have some more detractors, but I don't think he really cares. And his conduct thus far shows he's going to do what he wants to do.
First of all, I'd look at what's happening, and I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, that relationship busted up. From what I read, I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. It's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing.
If Diddy is not convicted, that will be a sense of victory for him and his side. And he will be able to acclimate to society a lot better because he will have been vindicated in court. if he is freed because of a pardon, either after a conviction or before, it'll be a little tougher because people will think he got a free ride, and beat the system. I think Diddy's reputation has been irreparably harmed. He'll never be able to get back to the Diddy that people knew him, of him before this trial and before what has happened now. You know, he is going to have a problem in society in terms of people working with him, you know, furthering his business empire, and just living among other people, because people have seen all this. They've seen the testimony, they've seen the witnesses, they formed opinions, and people are harsh when it comes to that.
I don't disagree with him. I think he's a long road back to being, you know, where he was before this trial, no matter which way it goes. Sean Diddy Combs would be a free man within days if Donald Trump decides to pardon him, but it would not bode well for his future, a lawyer has warned. Trump surprised reporters by commenting on Diddy's court case during a news conference with Elon Musk last week and revealed he would consider whether the rapper's been mistreated. Combs has been pictured with the president at several events over the years, but they had not been in contact leading up to his arrest for alleged sex trafficking and racketeering. Asked if he would consider pardoning him, Trump said, "Nobody's asked, but I know people are thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking." He said he felt the former music mogul used to like him a lot, but wasn't his biggest fan after he went into politics. Despite this, Trump said, "I was certainly looking at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on me." Now, you got to remember also that the Southern District of New York, they're the ones that came after Donald Trump, so he has a bone to pick with them. So if you know, he wants to stick it to them, he that's why he's saying he would consider pardoning Diddy. All Diddy needs to do is say two nice things about Donald Trump, and he will pardon him. Listen, Diddy's children should do like the Chrisley's children did and go ahead and try to fight for a pardon for their dad. I'm trying to see what's really going on there. Is there something really going on here? Because Lamar transported Coco to the dude ranch off with multiple women and nobody did anything. He almost died. Well. And that was that ranch that was on, I think they had an HBO show. Issued a pardon, now accepted, preserve his wealth for his children. They are not proven RICO, and they are trying to seize his wealth. He shouldn't wait until after. Yeah, it's a lot. This guy is rich, and you won't see him on a bus or at the laundromat. Yep, Trump will pardon him to get back at the Southern District of New York. Yeah, I truly believe that. So the U.S. Sun spoke to Los Angeles-based trial attorney Trey Lavelle for his opinion on a possible pardon and how that would play out. He said the pardoning power is one of the ultimate powers of the president. It is virtually unchecked, and he can do it. He doesn't even have to wait for the conviction. He can do it at any time after anybody's charge, even after the crime occurs. So the second that the president determines that he's going to pardon him, Diddy, it happens immediately. They basically signed a pardon. It would be sent to Diddy, and assuming he accepted, which obviously he would, then that's that. Lavelle said if he had already been convicted, there would be an administrative process through the Federal Bureau of Prisons to arrange for his release and transportation, but it wouldn't be long before he was out. There may be a few hours, maybe 1 or 2 days. Sometimes that can take time just because of bureaucracy, he said. Combs, 55, is currently on trial in New York after pleading not guilty to 5 counts of trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. I think the transportation to engage, I think they probably got that as a slam dunk. The trafficking, no. The racketeering conspiracy, no. He's facing up to life in prison if convicted. The jury has heard from several witnesses in the case so far, including Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, at the damning video emerged of him beating her during their relationship. Diddy locked eyes with us as he entered the courtroom inside the trial of the decade. The federal ex-trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs began with a jury selection on May 5th. Combs is standing at trial at the Southern District of New York Courthouse in Lower Manhattan, an intimidating federal courthouse where the cases of Ghislaine Maxwell, Donald Trump, and that's why Donald said he would pardon him, right? He's pissed at them, and Bernard Madoff, among others, were tried. Once a powerful founder of a music and business empire, Combs has been reduced to a defendant inmate, and here go his number, 37452-054, stripped of his mogul status, and now standing trial on 5 federal charges with the war of the United States government against him. When I attended day 3 of the trial selection at the federal courthouse on May 7th, the buzz around the start of the trial was palpable. Hours before the courthouse opened its doors, more than a dozen reporters and members of the public stood in line in hopes of securing a seat in the gallery for the high-profile trial. As you walk through the glass door entrance of the Daniel Patrick Courthouse, you are met by bulletproof vest-clad court officers. All visitors must separate their electronic devices from their personal belongings, which are passed through a metal detector. Visitors walk through a metal detector before a court officer hands them a poker chip. The courthouse uses a poker chip system to sort the number of electronic devices visitors are in possession of. Electronic devices such as Bluetooth-powered headphones, voice recorders, laptops, cell phones, and smartwatches are confiscated before you are allowed to enter the courthouse main hallway. As about a half dozen reporters and I waited in the gallery for jury selection, we witnessed how Combs entered the courtroom shackled free. Combs entered with his hands pressed together, greeted his defense team before he examined the gallery, and locked eyes with reporters and potential jurors. The 55-year-old disgraced Bad Boy Records exec was attentive and engaged with his counsel as they grilled dozens of potential jurors. A jury selection wrapped up for the day. Combs embraced each of his female defense attorneys before he mouthed thank you to a handful of supporters in the gallery. I attended the trial again as opening statements got underway on May 12th, and the world media waited anxiously outside the federal courthouse before the sun rose in Lower Manhattan. A line stretched down the block from the federal courthouse as some members of the media and the public camped out overnight to try to obtain a coveted seat inside the gallery. At least three overflow rooms were made available for reporters and the public who are eager to witness prosecution's case against the music mogul. I did not know that they had 3 overflow rooms. That's a lot. At least half a dozen members of Cole's family arrived at the courthouse as spectators filled in single order to enter the federal building to turn over all their electronic devices. Combs' trial is being held on the 26th floor in Judge Iran's courtroom and is expected to last for 8 weeks. The last I heard, they had claimed that the prosecution was going to rest their case early. I wonder if they still are, or if not, if they decided that they're not going to. Now, he said it wouldn't make sense for Trump to pardon him halfway into the prosecution case when the jury hasn't yet heard all the facts, adding that it would be a premature to act now. I was very surprised Trump is considering pardoning Diddy, especially in the light of the fact that the trial is ongoing now, he said. We are hearing witness after witness after witness testify to some horrible things. It would be a slap in the face to the witnesses, to the victims, to a lot of people to just pardon him now. You know, listen, if you're going to pardon him, I don't see where the difference would be if you do it now or later. It's still, to the witnesses, it would still be a slap in the face if he was found guilty and then you pardon him, because they feel like he still didn't serve any justice. People will think he got a free ride and beat the system. It would seem that he would want to wait until the trial is over. And if there's not a conviction, then there's no need for him to get involved. He went on to say, there's one thing that Americans stand for. It's accountability. And if he were pardoned in the light of what's been happening, these allegations in this testimony, there would be a sense of loss and lack of accountability. Well, I think accountability has to go both ways, right? Some of these witnesses, and I'm not saying all, they're not being held accountable for their piece in this situation. And so I don't know how this would sit with most Americans with respect to President Trump. But the lawyer said he doesn't think anybody would be surprised if Trump pardoned Diddy. He pardoned a lot of people that people took umbrage with, and he's not worried about a re-election. So I don't really think it would affect him. He may have some more detractors, but I don't think he really cares. And his conduct thus far shows he's going to do what he wants to do. And he's talking about Trump. The lawyer feels Diddy, if Diddy is acquitted, it would be a sense of victory, and it would be easier to accumulate to society because he will have been vindicated in court. However, if he's convicted and pardoned by Trump, it would have more of a negative impact on him. It would be a little tougher because people will think he got a free ride and beat the system, he said. Well, I will say this. Civil suits can go either way, but I think if he's convicted, probably all of those civil suits, that would bankrupt him, right? Because they probably be like, well, he was convicted and we believe all of these people, what they're saying in the civil suits. I think he may have some victories in his civil suits if he is not convicted and he goes all the way through with this trial. I don't know how the civil suits will go if Trump pardons him. So that's a lot of stuff to think about. It would be a little tougher because people will think he got a free ride and beat the system, he said. But regardless, the lawyer feels Diddy's reputation has been irreparably harmed and he will never be the billionaire music mogul he once was, admired by millions. Now, I will say this. People do forget easy. Yeah, they hold grudges, but they seem to forget easy too. I don't know how this is going to pan out for Diddy, but I do think his reputation definitely was harmed. It comes after Cassie Ventura gave birth after she gave 4 days of grueling testimony about her relationship with Sean Combs during his federal sex trafficking trial. Ventura testified Combs forced her to participate in free calls where he watched her have relations with male escorts. Celebrities like Prince, Mike Myers, and Bill Gates have been mentioned throughout the trial. Kid Cudi testified how his porch was blown up after Combs flew into a jealous rage when he dated Cassie. Now, I will say, Kid Cudi, his testimony to me was one of the ones where he was just more believable, but at the same time, there was no proof that Diddy was the one that blew up his car. So part of these charges, too, they had arson in it. I personally don't think they proved the arson, but we'll carry on. Trump has pardoned several high-profile inmates in recent months, including reality TV stars Todd and Julie Christie, 3 years after they were convicted of bank fraud and tax evasion. Talking about running their mouth and having no humility, so to speak. Todd, I haven't heard the wife speak, but Todd, he's very arrogant. He's been running his mouth. He's been talking about how they wrongfully convicted me in the first place. He's messy. And to me, if you got pardoned, I would just lay low. But anyway, that would be me. More and more damning accusations have emerged about the alleged violence he inflicted behind closed doors. The trial opened up with a powerful testimony from Victoria, Combs' ex-girlfriend of over a decade. The singer 38 alleged Combs forced her to participate in weekly drug-filled sex marathons, which he called freak off with male escorts. Ventura, who says she did not want to engage in these sex acts, told the court her music career took a backseat due to the toll the orgies took on her day, testifying how she needed days at a time to recover. Prosecutors also released photos of the injuries Ventura allegedly suffered from Combs' years-long abuse, including a gash on her forehead that had become a permanent scar. Combs has remained mostly stone-faced in court as his lawyers insist he is innocent. The prosecutor's case is slated to rest the week of June 9th. That's next week. So if they're going to rest next week and then the defense has, I guess, about 3 weeks to prove their case. It's going to be interesting. And I'm also wondering who on and on the defense, who, if anybody, will they call to the stand to speak on Diddy's behalf? Now, let me say this, and they keep saying Diddy's going to take the stand. Who I personally don't think he should, but those are my thoughts, right? Let me see. So now Diddy charges explained by a lawyer. Let me see if I want to go through that. We can go through a little bit of it. Former federal prosecutor Naomi, I think I did this one day. She talked about the racketeering charges. Yeah, I'm not going to go through that. Now, what's the last thing I want to say? Let me play this for you. So the other thing that I wanted to say is, wait, hold on. I'll play this and then we'll.
Took to hide video evidence of its attack on Cassie Ventura were revealed today in court. Here's everything you need to know about day 15 of the Diddy trial. Jurors heard shocking testimony from Eddie Garcia, a former hotel security guard at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles, where Diddy's brutal caught-on-camera assault on Cassie took place. Garcia recalled speaking to a nervous and fast-talking Diddy, who claimed he had a little too much to drink. He stated that I sounded like a good guy, that I sounded like I wanted to help him, Garcia said. He testified that Diddy told him that if the video got out, it would ruin his career. Despite dismissing Diddy's initial request, Garcia said he was rattled when Diddy's team contacted him on his personal number. Under pressure, Garcia said he went to his supervisor, who agreed to sell Diddy the surveillance footage for $50,000. From then on, Garcia said Diddy referred to him as Eddie my angel. Diddy added, "I knew you could do it. Let's do it right away," Garcia said, saying Diddy was anxious to get his hands on the video. Garcia said he met with Diddy at a high-rise building in West Los Angeles and recalled being greeted outside by one of Diddy's towering security guards. He told jurors that the security guard reassured him he was doing a good thing. The witness told the court that once upstairs, he met with an excited and beaming Diddy who greeted him again, "Eddie my angel." Diddy told the former security guard that he and Cassie wanted the video gone. In the video call from Diddy's cell phone, Cassie told Garcia that she had a movie coming out and did not want the video to go public. A frightened Garcia told the jury that Diddy made him sign a non-disclosure agreement, which included a $1 million clause if Garcia broke the terms of the contract. Garcia said at the time he was earning $10.50 an hour. The witness described in vivid detail how Diddy put $100,000 in cash in a money counting machine and then handed him the money in a brown paper bag. Garcia told prosecutors Diddy asked him what he would spend the money on and advised him not to make any big purchases. A nervous Garcia testified how he was looking out his rearview mirror to see if Diddy was following him after the meeting. Garcia told the court he gave $50,000 to his supervisor, $20,000 to his coworker who responded to the incident at the hotel's elevator lobby, and kept $30,000 for himself. He testified he used the money to buy a used car. Garcia admitted to lying to investigators when he was first approached about the hotel incident. He said he eventually cooperated with officials after hiring a lawyer. The jury will return tomorrow ahead of the government's next star witness, who is being referred to as Jane.
See, this is what I said the problem was with this whole case from the beginning. Everybody's lying, right? So he admitted, like, I lied at first, Eddie, and then after I got a lawyer, I decided to tell the truth. So which truth should we believe? Now, I do believe he paid for the video, but y'all understand what I'm getting at. The other problem is, I think Jane, she needs a lawyer. I found it if she doesn't have one. I don't know if she does or doesn't, right? But she needs somebody to speak up for her, because it's interesting that Cassie had a 10-year relationship with Diddy, and they had many freak-offs, and they had multiple tapes allegedly of these freak-offs, right? So no freak-off, to my knowledge, and y'all could correct me if I'm wrong, no freak-off video was showed of Cassie and Diddy in that courtroom, or whoever, right, of her with any of the escorts, but yet they showed videos of Jane. Jane is in that courtroom unprotected, because if you remember, Cassie's lawyer came to court every single day. And Cassie lawyer made sure that they wasn't going to play with Cassie while Cassie was on that stand. He objected to some things. He told them what they was and was not going to do. He wasn't playing. He was protecting his money bag because remember, she got $20 million from Diddy, and I don't know how much of that her lawyer got, but she also was scheduled to get $10 million from the Intercontinental Hotel, right? So he was there for her the whole time. Now with Jane, I don't know if anybody's there for her. And listen, she needs somebody there for her because one day showing her videos of her being in the positions with these different stars, P stars. And in addition to that, she has yet to be cross-examined. I personally think her cross-examination is going to be brutal. And I'm also thinking that the Diddy lawyer Nicole is going to be the one to cross-examine Jane Doe. And I think she's in for a rude awakening. This is going to be rough on her. Christina Corin, I don't know if she's going to be one of the witnesses. I'm doubting, like for the prosecution. I'm kind of doubting that she is because she recently came out and did a whole little rant, so to speak, about how, the people got her wrong. She never saw anybody being trafficked. She never saw any SA. She never did this. She never did that. She is 10 toes down that her name is being defamed and destroyed in these public streets because she didn't see nothing. She didn't do nothing. She didn't know anything. But Jane Doe herself, the one that's on the stand now, and this ain't illegal, but this is what Jane said. Jane Doe said that, one time Diddy gave her some type of pill or whatever, and she freaked out and went crazy. And, he called Christina, and Christina and Diddy took her back from the beach, back into the house or whatever. It's a mess. And Brian Stills, listen, Sandy, if Brian still cross-examine her, it is going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Listen, if Brian or Nicole, because Brian works with Nicole works for Brian, right? If Brian or Nicole cross-examines Jane, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. I think, you know what? It's just going to be bad for her anyway, because I don't know how she's calling herself a victim. And I'm saying that in the nicest, most respectable way that I can. I don't know how she's calling herself a victim. And you clearly came up to New York with him, and it looked like in the room, it looked like it was prepped for a freak off. And you knew this man was turning himself in. Oh, KK. Yeah, well, KK is lying. Multiple witnesses had told about KK being involved in different incidents. She is, but, I said it before, right? Everybody is trying to rewrite history. Everybody's trying to rewrite history, and it just don't work like that. Let me see. I just want to show you one thing before I close out. Hold on one second. Let me pause this. Okay. Let me share this screen, and then I don't know how and then not only that, Sandy, KK was named in Little Rodney's lawsuit with some damaging stuff. The woman at the center of Diddy's inner circle may take the stand. This is what they're claiming. I mean, time will tell. We have to see. Let me just put it. For weeks, Sean Diddy Combs has watched from a courtroom table as witness after witness has taken the stand, unraveling a wide-ranging tale of alleged abuse and conspiracy. The common thread united many of the witnesses they used to work for Combs. Ex-assistants, stylists, and artists for his label Bad Boy Records have come forward, some willingly and some not, and testified about a man whose status as a public icon allegedly enabled him to be a private monster. On Thursday, June 5th, a statement from prosecutors that they may have caught the big kahuna, Christina KK Corin, Combs' former chief of staff and right-hand woman, in an And then aside from with the judge, lawyers for the government, Corin, an agent and co-conspirator, marking the first time she has been referred to that way. The language implies Corin has likely reached an agreement with the prosecution and will testify. Ooh. Listen, if she gets on the stand, I will say this, the defense better do their work, because there was a statement that she put out there talking about she ain't never seen nothing, she ain't never do nothing, she was never involved. Should she take the stand, she would likely be the closest person inside Combs' alleged criminal enterprise to do so. The government has accused the music mogul of leading lifestyle powered by wealth and fame and propelled relentless forward by a combination of intimidation, manipulation, violence, and even R. To accomplish that, Combs enlisted an entourage of paid support staff and enablers who lived a life most mortals could only dream of, lavish nonstop, and like Combs himself, at the white-hot center of fame, money, power, atop the entertainment world, prosecutors say, and at the center of it was Corin. In March, 2 months before Combs' trial began, she denied any involvement in the case or the flurry of civil lawsuits aimed at her former boss, calling any allegations untrue. For months, this is what she said. For months, horrific accusations have been made about me in various lawsuits regarding my former boss. Corin's statement read, "These false allegations of my involvement are causing irreparable and incalculable damage to my reputation and emotional well-being of myself and my family. I have never condoned or aided or abetted the SA of anyone, nor have I ever drugged anyone." The idea that I could be accused of playing a role or even being a bystander to the R of anyone is beyond upsetting, disturbing, and unthinkable, the statement continued. This is not who I am, and my heart goes out to all victims of SA. If Corin testifies, she will be joining a growing cadre of ex-employees who allegedly helped Combs run his empire and now may be the cause of its undoing. I think, now listen, if she testifies, now that will sink his ship. Some legal experts said their testimony and that of many insiders to come will bolster prosecutors' allegations that Combs oversaw a movable party operation that crossed the line into becoming a global criminal enterprise designed to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. It seems like each and every day the testimony gets worse and worse for Combs, says David Ring, a civil trial lawyer specializing in SA cases, who represented one of Harvey Weinstein's victims in a civil case in a previous interview with US Today. And I think we're going to see more employees come forward who have to admit on the stand that they enabled their criminal actions because they felt like they were pressured into it. Listen, she worked closely with Diddy in acting so innocent. Come on now. That's the thing though. I mean, if she gets on that, loads of them are involved. Yes, Claire, loads of them are involved. If she gets on that stand, all I can say is God help Diddy. She will, yeah, well, that's what they're saying. They're saying it looks like she worked out a deal. But my thing is, you're willing to give 99 people a deal so you can take down one person. It just seems crazy to me, because he wouldn't have been able to get away what he got away with if these people didn't help. Remember, the hotel guy said Christine called him. Christine called him. She's the only co-conspirator. KK, wait, what did you say? KK was the only one who wasn't on drugs. I don't know if that's so though, Cassandra. I don't know if she didn't take them. KK is toast. They got her on video and text messages. She's going to sing like a canary. Well, the best Diddy can hope for right now is this mistrial is granted. And then when it's granted, he needs to reach out to Trump himself and get Trump to pardon him and then go on with his life. But The thing that I want to say about Diddy is, I don't think that if he gets pardoned, let's just roll down that road for 1 minute. I think he's going to be on the street. The second he got out, he going to be calling people on the phone saying, let's get this freak off started. He's not one to learn a lesson. He's not one that seems like he would pull back. He seems like one as can't stop, won't stop. Now, the only thing about Christina is she has to know when she gets on that stand, she can say whatever she wants for the prosecution, but she's going to have to be cross-examined. This thing is getting ugly. I don't know what's going to happen. Put in the chat and let me know. Do you think, matter of fact, I'll do a quick poll. Do you think that this pardon should be granted? Let me see. Let me do a quick poll. I gotta end this poll. And let me start a poll. All right, I did it. Do you think the judge should grant this mistrial? So everybody answer the poll. I'll give it a few minutes. And we need to hit that like button, people. We got 179 in the chat. We only got 136 likes. Please hit the like button. I'll give y'all a minute to do the poll. I don't understand why this trial is just for the recent years and not everything. Get J-Lo, Mary J, Usher, Diva up there. Because a lot of this, the statute of limitations have run out. I think that's the answer to Keisha. I'll try to dig more. But a lot of it, the statute of limitations have run out. And then you got people that's not wanting to speak. Justin Bieber, he came out, remember, and did a statement and said he want to stop the rumors. He said nothing happened to him under Diddy's watch. And a lot of the witnesses that they are getting to speak, none of these people are speaking because they really wanted to. Like, none of them are speaking because they really wanted to. And I think they probably went to Christina and told Christina, you will get charged if you don't, speak on our behalf. And I think that they are going to more people as they're seeing that, okay, this case is not going the way that they want it to go. They are going out and asking more people, like, pretty much saying, listen, you will be charged as a co-conspirator if you don't work with us, right? And then also remember, we don't know that. Remember that one witness that said, I never told y'all I was coming to speak for y'all and help y'all out. So that witness never came. And remember, they said they didn't hear from the witness or the lawyer. That incident never happened, right? It's like none of these celebs have been offered immunity. Oh, yep, please hit the like button. Okay, so let me see where the poll is at now. Let's see where this poll is at. It's late, y'all. Let me end the poll. Oh, do you think the judge should grant the mistrial? 69% no, and 30% said yes. Woo! Well, oh, Fancy, you think that was Young Miami? Interesting. Okay, I don't know. But listen, I guess y'all was like, no, don't grant no mistrial. Let this thing continue on. Well, listen, we'll hear by Monday, but they got the judge doing overtime working on the weekend. But listen, y'all, thank y'all for hanging out with me so late on a Saturday night. Okay, I got to get up and go to church tomorrow morning, so I got to get my butt in the bed. But I appreciate y'all. Y'all know the routine. If you didn't hit that like button on the way in, hit the like button on the way out. Good night and goodbye, everybody. Choo choo.